to Straight Up Paleo, where we talk all things nutrition straight up. I'm one of your hosts, Christina Rice. I'm a holistic health coach and a nutritional therapy practitioner in training currently living in Los Angeles. I'm also the creator of the health and wellness blog, addictedtolovely.com, and the host of the Actually Adultish podcast.
And I'm your other host, Kara Halderman. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner from Dallas, Texas, creator of careaboutit.com, and co-host of the Low Carb Conversations podcast. In this podcast, we will be discussing all things paleo, health, and nutrition, along with answering questions straight from you.
If you want to submit a question for us to answer on the podcast, head to straightuppaleo.com or email us at straightuppaleo@gmail.com.
Remember our disclaimer. The materials in this podcast are only to be used for advice and are not to be used in place of general medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
If you want to support the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a rating and a review on iTunes. Enjoy the show!
Hey, Christina, what's going on?
Hey, Kara. I'm just sitting here. I tried to go on a walk earlier, and guess what? It's raining in LA.
That's bizarre.
I know. It's crazy, but I took like one lap around in the rain and then came back. What's up with you?
I just got back from a workout, and then I ate lunch, which was a whole head of kale. So we'll see how that goes through my digestive system.
It looks so good, though, with that tahini dress.
Oh, my God. Okay, so I just posted it on Instagram. It was ground bison, a whole head of kale, and I made lemon tahini drizzle. And I've been craving tahini for probably a month plus now, and I just have never gotten it.
She's been telling me.
I know.
She didn't want to give in because she thought she'd get addicted to it like me.
Everyone says tahini is super addictive, and I don't know. I didn't want to get addicted to it, so I just bought whatever. I just didn't buy it. But now I bought it, and I made it last night for a dish, and I'm basically in love with it. And I'm probably going to put it on everything for like a solid week, and then I'll probably get tired of it. I go through huge phases, but it's carrying me through my whole 30 right now. It's like adding that extra little something to make my meals not boring.
Okay, this is my thing. So does that type of meal satisfy you? Like kale, it was literally just kale, the lemon tahini, and the bison.
Yeah, I cooked it in coconut oil, and so that helped. But I'm pretty full. Honestly, I'll probably be hungry in like 3 hours, three to 4 hours. But it definitely does satisfy me. Plus, my body doesn't. I don't know. I think my body's really slow with digesting kale, so it makes me feel really full when I eat a lot of kale.
Well, see, this is my thing. I can't just have one vegetable.
You have to have multiple?
Yeah, I have to have different like textures and flavors. Like just a thing of like I just couldn't. Like I would need something crunchier to go with that.
What's your fave crunchy thing?
My fave crunchy thing? Cauliflower.
Cauliflower is always the go-to.
Yeah, the crispy. Yeah, or Romanesco. Yum.
I've actually never had Romanesco before.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so wait.
I can never find it here.
Oh my God. Okay, I need to send you some. But
yeah, just send me a crate of Romanesco cauliflower.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of vegetables. Okay, so Kara and I decided maybe we should talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah, just go with it.
Okay. Well, I've been geeking out the past 2 days because I discovered this thing called the Chinese restaurant effect. And I sent it to Kara, and I don't know if she thinks I'm crazy. So the idea behind the Chinese restaurant effect is basically that volume of any kind can, for some people, stretch the small intestines, and that can stimulate the release of certain hormones, which ends up raising your blood sugar. So this is important in the context of, for example, diabetics or people on ketogenic diets who think, maybe non-starchy veggies. The example they gave was lettuce. So eating I was about to swear, but I'm trying not to. Eating a ton of lettuce, just like a huge amount, that could potentially spike someone's blood sugar. And this was the explanation behind it. And they called it the Chinese restaurant effect. Because I guess Chinese restaurants just put a ton of vegetable. I haven't had that experience.
I've never had that experience at a Chinese restaurant, but whatever.
I mean, that's what I said. I don't really care what it's called, but that's the idea. And so the reason this is relevant to my life is, okay, so I can't explain to you guys how many vegetables I eat.
I know. Like, I thought that Christina ate a lot of vegetables, but then she came to stay with me, and you guys, she eats a lot of I can't explain.
Eat more food than anyone I've ever met. And this is the thing, even when I was staying with Kara, I didn't eat as many vegetables as I usually eat because I would go to my Airbnb each night and I didn't have any with me, and I would have kept eating them if I did. But I just use them as a vehicle for more fat. Like, you gotta dip your mayo, you need your tahini. Well, I do, whatever. Anyways, but one of the things that all of these different people I consult with can't figure out is why my blood sugar is so high all the time. It's bizarre because I eat, even when I tested my ketones, and my ketones were, I was in ketosis, my blood sugar was still super high. And this really bothers me that my blood sugar is so high. And so now I'm worried that this is because of the Chinese restaurant effect.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. It's kind of compelling and possible, like totally possible. When you're eating the amount of volume that you are, I do think that is possible that your blood sugar can be high from that. Wait, can we like post a link to this in the show notes, the article, because people need to read this. Like, you have to just read the article because I can't even re-explain it. But I've actually heard Dr. Eric Berg, if you know him from YouTube, he's talked about this too, that just the stretching of your stomach in general causes blood sugar to raise. And I didn't know until recently that blood sugar actually raises, or blood sugar is stimulated like 3 times throughout digestion. It's not just like you eat something and boom, like your blood sugar goes up and it's done. Like, as it moves through your body, your blood sugar can either raise more or whatever, depending on, I guess, the volume of what you ate and the amount of sugar in the stuff that what you ate. So we're trying to find out, is this behind your vegetable blood sugar debacle? I don't know.
So Kara and I had a deep heart-to-heart, and she just thinks that I should really cut down my vegetable consumption.
Basically.
So this is the experiment I'm going to do, and I guess now that I'm sitting on the podcast, I have to stick to it. I've been, the past 2 days, instead of doing a crap ton more vegetables with things on top, I've just been doing meat with things on top, so it's like smaller volume. Does that make sense?
So like, how many vegetables are you eating?
So I'm just eating my normal, like my 3 to 4 meal regular vegetables.
Oh yeah.
So I'm probably, okay, people are gonna think, I mean, I probably have like 5 cups of veggies at a meal.
That's like really good compared to where you were though.
Yeah, that's really good. So I'm trying to stick to that. And then when I eat my other snacks, I'm trying to go low volume to see if it helps. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. And people are probably like, what the heck is she talking about? Like, what's going on with her vegetable consumption? But y'all, like, vegetables are awesome. But if you legit like cannot digest, like we suggest, and even we had Terry Walls come on and she's saying like 9 cups of vegetables a day and stuff. But like, if you cannot digest that many vegetables, it's something you need to work up to, and you can't just like go full force and eat all this fiber expecting your body to happily accept it, especially when you have digestive issues going on.
Well, there are also people on such different ends of the spectrum who listen to this. So there might be people who are listening to this who, have a hard time getting in 1 to 2 servings of veggies a day. So for those people, yeah, it makes sense to tell them unlimited veggies. Just try and get all the veggies you can. But I do know that there are people listening to this podcast and people running this podcast who can eat so many vegetables. And for those people, yeah, there kind of is an upper limit for our bodies. And right now, I guess I'm experimenting to figure out mine.
Yep. Life is about experimentation. I hope it works.
I can't believe I haven't come across this before because I research all of this so much because I'm just a research fanatic. But it's interesting. I'll see if it helps. I don't know how long I'll have to give it a shot for, but
probably a couple weeks.
It's like costing me more money.
Well, eating more vegetables will totally cost you more money.
But
budget cuts.
We'll see. So that's kind of the update there. Oh, wait, I should say, my stomach update. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like so happy. I'm working on a blog post about it, but so you guys, my candida is gone.
Woo!
Woo! My candida. A year
of candida.
It's finally gone. I do still have a bacterial overgrowth and a little bit of yeast. Not candida, different yeast. But those things are pretty quick and easy to get rid of. Gonna go on a little protocol for another 3 months. And while I'm still on, quote, candida diet, I am adding in all of my MRT food sensitivity foods, and I just feel like a free woman.
That's
I've had mushrooms,
good.
And next up is lettuce.
Lettuce. You're going to cry when you eat lettuce, probably.
I'm so excited. I'm so sick of trying to make salads with the same grains. It just, honestly, food rotation is really important.
It really is.
That's all I can tell you.
But that's awesome. I'm really happy that things are coming back a little bit better. I mean, dude, things take time. Seriously, it sucks. Things take years sometimes, but when you get tests back and like they're one step in the right direction, it makes all of this worth it. And when you can start eating foods again that you haven't had in like a year, that's the bomb. So yeah. I think you're getting there for sure.
For a long time, I kind of just felt like this is my life. Like, this is just how it's all, like, I could never see the end of the road, and now I see it, and I feel like I'm almost actually completely done, which is so exciting. So
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. What about you? What's going on?
Well, health-wise, so I mentioned a couple months ago I was doing bioidentical hormones, and I've still been doing it. I had to back off majorly on the dose. I was on like 10 drops of, what am I even taking? Pregnenolone, DHEA, and then progesterone mid-cycle, and I was on like a lot, basically, and I had to cut back dramatically because my skin was terrible. I was getting really anxious. My body was just not responding well, but ever since I cut back and I was being really, really consistent, I actually feel like my body is starting to recognize them and assimilate them and like work. Like I actually feel like they're starting to work because I've never had this much energy before. Even though it's not a whole lot of energy, I actually feel just better. My digestion is better. I don't really know what that's from. Honestly, I've done so many things, but my digestion is better. I have more energy. Those are just the main things. And even though my skin still kind of sucks, when I backed off, like the acne that a lot of times those hormones can cause, like totally backed off. And now I'm starting to notice that I'm not really even getting acne from taking them at all. So I'm hoping that when my period comes around, it will be a little bit better this month, just saying, because that's supposed to help with the progesterone and everything, because I have super low progesterone, but that's just health update. Things are getting better. There's just still some stuff that needs to be worked out, as usual.
You know what? I think it would be interesting. Can you explain to people the deal with bioidenticals?
Yeah.
Why they're somewhat controversial for some people?
Yeah, I explained it a little bit like a couple months ago, but if you don't remember, I was talking about. So bioidenticals are controversial. Just taking hormones of any kind is really controversial in this natural health medicine field. There's a difference between bioidentical hormones and hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy is using synthetic hormones, like synthetic estrogens and synthetic testosterone and stuff like that to treat hormone imbalances. Bioidentical hormones, they're derived from yams or from soy. And the way they derive it is that it's bioidentical, meaning the structure matches your body's hormone structure. So it should recognize it as self, versus hormone replacement therapy is synthetic and your body does not as easily recognize it. Both can actually be really beneficial for a lot of people, just depending on your situation. But then there's also this other side saying that nobody should take them, and once you go off of them, you'll have all sorts of problems and blah, blah, blah. But I've tried freaking everything, and like my hormones will not move. They're just rock bottom, and I've done a lot of stuff. So I was willing to take the plunge and try it, and I haven't really experienced anything super duper negative. I think it's just, dude, I don't even know. I wish I honestly knew more about them. I did a lot of research at one point, and I tried to dig really deep into them, but I haven't found too much. Either people are just totally against them or they're pro bioidentical hormones. There's not a lot of people talking about both sides, which sucks.
Well, maybe you can be that person.
Yeah, I really should. I wanted to go like do some PubMed studies on bioidentical hormones, but I heard that like DHEA especially is super important. I'm taking DHEA and it's like a huge brain protectant. And as we age, like our DHEA levels dramatically decline. So if you've gotten a hormone panel done and you have really low levels of DHEA already, then that's basically like the DHEA of an 80-year-old. Like that's basically what I'm dealing with right now. And you don't have that brain protected substance. And it's also really necessary for like building and maintaining muscle mass. I've also heard that athletes use DHEA as well to boost their muscle mass. So it's interesting. It's also one of those, like I said, that can make you break out a lot, which is what I experienced. I have to take one drop or my skin will just freak out.
I actually was going through all my pills because I've been cleaning out pills because for the first time in my life, I'm not taking that many pills, which is very exciting. But I found like 5 bottles of DHEA that my old FMD had given me because when I was like trying to put on a ton of weight at once, he gave it to me to help with my workouts. So yeah, there's that. Now I don't know what to do with it, but well, I'm curious to see how it goes. So you have to keep us updated.
Same, dude. I will. I totally will. Okay. What else is going on in the life of Christina?
Basically, NTA winter break is over, so back to studying, which is fun. I love NTA. And I got a ton of stuff from Primal Kitchen for takeout last night, so I have meatballs to last me 3 years. So that's exciting. And having a Star Wars marathon this week with friends.
Yes.
Also fun. And I'm working on redoing my whole Paleo Women program. So I'm going to like relaunch it at the end of the month, and I'm so excited. It looks so good. I'm like really proud of it. So
yay. That's great. Second round of Paleo for women. So y'all stay tuned for that.
Yes. What about you? Anything else?
I don't think I've actually announced this on the podcast, but I started a newsletter. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a really long time. It's called Monday Montra. And if you're interested, you can go to my website, careaboutit.com, and it's just right there. You can sign up. But basically every Monday I send you something to your inbox that is mindset related, giving you either a story or an actionable tip or whatever to just help make your life a little bit better. some background behind that is, as you all know, I'm like into health and nutrition and all of that. But since I was 12 years old, I want to say, my parents basically used to drag me to these seminars, like these self-improvement seminars. I had no choice. I had to go. I don't know why. I'm still confused about that. But it was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. And for years, I sat through these self-improvement seminars, and I would use these techniques on myself and on my friends and on the people around me. And I didn't really realize how life-changing they were at the time. So I forgot like a lot about them in my like 18, 19, 20. And when I moved back home after college, I decided to go back to these classes and start getting into them again. And everything just totally, rushed back into my brain. And it's something I just need to start talking about a little bit more. And that's what I'm doing on my Monday Mantra newsletter. I haven't really gotten fully into detail yet. I'm kind of just priming you guys. Like I think I started on Christmas, and I started talking about Christmas and how to make the most out of your Christmas. I just sent out one today, so sorry if you didn't sign up. If you just message me on Instagram, though, with your email, I'll actually just send it to you, the one that I sent out this week. But this week, I was talking about how to set goals, because I know we just had New Year's and New Year's resolutions and all of that stuff. And honestly, by now, I want to say like 50% of people, they've probably lost all of the motivation they had for their goals, or they're starting to slip and they're thinking like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And honestly, one of the major reasons that's happening is because you're not goal setting correctly. Most people will just write something down on a piece of paper and forget about it, or they'll just think about it in their head, and then it never it never comes true. And there's a lot of reasons why. And it really is a structure and a science to goal setting. Now, just because you goal set doesn't mean you're going to achieve your goals, but it dramatically increases the likelihood if you put it in this format that I sent out. So I just sent that out. And then I'm actually next week hopefully going to be sending out a video goal setting technique, guiding you through a way that you can program your goals into your subconscious, so you even increase your likelihood there. So those are my plans, and I'm just going to kind of go with it. It's free, so why not? Just sign up for it.
Yeah, sign up. Sarah has all of these tips that are she's just a little full of nuggets of wisdom. So you should do that, because she helps me a lot with all of I have bad willpower. It's weird because I have good willpower with a lot of things, but then really bad with other things. So she keeps me on track.
We all struggle with the willpower, I believe. I watched this video on Facebook. I'm sure everyone's seen it, about how willpower doesn't exist or something like that. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't seen it, but I mean, willpower is a finite resource. We run out of willpower, so you need to use it wisely. I had literally a whole class in college about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like the decision fatigue thing where you make so many decisions and by noon you're so tired of making decisions that everything goes out the window and you're done? That's
why routine is so helpful when you take the decision making out of it and plan things ahead. Where, it's switching things up is fun. It can be a good variety, but when you switch things up too often and you're making too many decisions, that can literally take up too much of your brain space, and then you will get mental adrenal fatigue.
It's so true. We should do an episode about routines one day, because those are uber important.
I agree. Well, cool. So we have some good questions today. Should we hop into it?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and read question 1. So, sorry, girl, I did not. Oh, wait, nope. Her name's Haley. I got her name. Haley sent in, hey, girls, one question, or I guess topic I was wondering if you could cover is identifying healthy products and reading labels. I see so many products that Instagram bloggers promote as healthy, but then when I read the ingredients, they have a ton of sugar, even if they're natural sugar, or toxic oils. For example, Go Macro Bars, Perfect Bars, Purely Elizabeth, Granola, Simple Mills, etc. What brands, if any, would you recommend buying? So, Christina, I'll let you have the floor on this one first.
Okay, yeah, because I was just telling Kara, I have a whole module about this in my Paleo Woman program. Like one week, this is all we talk about because you can get really in depth into this, and you would be surprised where things are hiding.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I would like to give you a big shout out that you recognize that a lot of bloggers promote things as healthy.
That's the first step.
Yeah, that's amazing. So if people don't realize that, I hope you realize that. And it sounds like you already do the most important thing, which is to go and check the ingredients and not just take the opinion of somebody else as truth. Because everyone, even people who you would never expect, sometimes promote products that don't have the best ingredients.
Yep.
For example, I've been shocked at some of the things that certain FMDs I really admire put out when they put out products or supplements. So just always check and decide for yourself what you think of those ingredients. You know, there might be ingredients that I don't want in a product that I wouldn't buy that Kara would. You know, it's different for different people. That's the first thing. So I think that, God, there's so much.
I honestly feel like a lot of people don't know what some stuff is, and they think because it's naturally derived or it sounds like it's naturally derived that it's like okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's the first thing is, okay, so look at the ingredients. Can you pronounce them all? Do you know what they all are? Even if you do know what they all are they all things that you want in your body at that moment? So just because I can pronounce coconut sugar doesn't necessarily mean I want it in my protein powder that I'm going to be eating on a regular basis. So, you know, just because you can announce it, that's what I see all of the bloggers doing. They go, these ingredients are amazing. I can pronounce them all. Look, blah, 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 sugar, organic cane sugar.
I can pronounce maltodextrin.
Yeah. I don't
like, and it's not a good ingredient. I'm sorry.
And also recognizing, so, okay, let's talk about sugars, I guess. So
what's your like rule of thumb with sugars? Do you just avoid them?
It depends what it is. So if it's something that I want to use pretty regularly, yeah, I don't want any form of sugar in it. If I'm going to go out and buy ice cream, you know, I'll have sugar or a cookie or something. Or if it's maybe a dressing that I want to use just every once in a while, but not something I'm going to use every single day. Okay, I'll go for something with honey in it or maple syrup or something. But so let's talk about different types of sweeteners. So coconut sugar, maple syrup, honey, obviously, but we see xylitol, erythritol,
stevia,
yeah,
maltitol. There's all these etols, which are sugar alcohols that are coming out nowadays. And I've seen, honestly, the majority of people don't do well with sugar alcohols digestively. A lot of people do.
Allulose. Have you seen that one?
Which one? Allulose?
Allulose, yeah.
Yeah, I stay away from those. See, that's just my personal preference. They're just way too processed for me. They cause a lot of digestive bloat for me. I would much rather, like, I don't care. Like, I would much rather have maple syrup, honey, coconut sugar, real sugar, and deal with that blood sugar effect than put myself in digestive stress.
Also, some of these, even people like these because a lot of them are very low calorie or 0 calorie. That doesn't necessarily mean that it won't cause a blood sugar spike for some people. There are a lot of people who even stevia can cause a blood sugar spike.
That was me. Literally with stevia, just the taste of it, I actually could feel my blood sugar rising, and because there's actually no sugar from stevia to take out of your bloodstream, like insulin for a lot of people will spike when you have something with stevia in it anyways, just because it's sweet. But because there's no sugar from the stevia, the insulin actually just pulls from the remaining sugar that's in your bloodstream already, so you actually lower your blood sugar, and you can get symptoms of low blood sugar, and that's what would happen to me. So I just had to get rid of stevia like 90% of the time.
And there's a huge difference between, you know, people talk about the benefits of stevia, but the stevia that 95% of people are consuming is processed stevia. Real stevia is from a leaf. It's green.
Yep.
it's not this white powder that's been put through an 8-step process. You know, they're processed foods.
They really are.
Still are. So that's, I think, important to recognize. And I look for these commonly. I mean, I check your nut butters, your protein powders, your bars, I feel like are the top offenders, salad dressings with like hidden sugars. But the thing is, there are probably, I mean, I have a list in my program like of like 50 different names for sugar that we don't even know. When people, it's crazy. I think the other thing to check for are gums, like xanthan gum and guar gum.
Gums are kind of a controversial topic.
They are.
Because, okay, digestively, once again, some people don't notice anything with gums. Other people notice huge problems with gums. Like, I don't notice any issues, so I don't have a problem buying a can of coconut milk every once in a while that has organic guar gum in it. That doesn't bother me. And I don't think that the research is consistent enough yet saying that gums are bad. So I think that when you're hearing that gums are bad, that is just from a nutritionist that has a really extreme stance because they don't deal with it well. So I think it's just something you have to test out for yourself.
I'm of the opinion, I am the extreme nutritionist.
Yeah.
So I'm of the opinion that I would like to avoid gums as much as I can, but I'll have them every once in a while. You know, so if I'm at the store and I need coconut milk and the only one there has guar gum and that's my only option and I have to have coconut milk, whatever, I'll have it.
Yeah.
But if I need coconut milk and I know I could just drive to Trader Joe's and get one without the guar gum, I'm going to go do that.
Okay, that's how I am too, but I'm not like tripping if I get something with guar gum or xanthan gum. Xanthan gum bothers me though, because I know that a lot of it is derived from corn. And I don't know. They say that when something is derived that far from corn that it doesn't like have any other remaining proteins or anything left in it. But like truth is we don't really know the process of deriving that from corn. It most likely uses GMO corn. I just would rather not deal with corn in general.
Yeah. For me, with both the gums, I used guar gum to grow my SIBO. So in my head, I'm like, I don't want this. I just feel like there's no need for it, I guess. And I'm of the opinion where I don't, like, why would I buy a product if it has something in it? Like, if I don't need that ingredient, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that totally makes sense.
For the majority of situations.
The other thing that I've gotten a little bit more lenient, but a little bit more strict at the same time on like some things. Natural flavors, for example, nobody knows what that actually is unless you call the company, which my family, my stepmom, like whenever she gets a product, she literally calls the company and asks what natural flavors are derived from. And if they don't tell you or they refuse to tell you, it's most likely something a little bit sketchy. So I would, if you're not like freaked out by it, I would just call them and ask, but you don't know what that could be. And sometimes the natural flavors are not naturally derived, but this is what I'm talking about with like #balance. Right now I'm drinking a LaCroix with natural flavors in it. And I have no idea where it's coming from, but I also don't care. So you know.
So if it's called natural flavors, the rule is that it comes from a spice, fruit or fruit juice, vegetable, edible yeast, herb, bark, bud, root, leaf, meat, seafood, poultry, eggs, dairy. If they don't have to say what it is unless it's a common allergen. But these natural flavors are synthesized in labs. So they are made in labs, and sometimes common things that they add in there are coal tar and crude oil. And I mean, a lot of times they're from GMOs. So I mean, I would rather have a natural flavor than an artificial flavor.
Right.
But the thing is, with the natural flavors, so this is something that, like, is gross, something that I talked about in my program. So, I mean, natural flavors technically, do you know what castoreum is?
No,
Castoreum, I don't know how you pronounce
I don't
it.
think so.
Basically, beaver discharge.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Great.
that is often used as vanilla flavoring, and they can put that as natural flavors.
That's freaking gross. Okay.
So this is what you have.
Yeah.
Every natural flavor comes from a gross source like that. No, there are lots of companies. For example, when Primal Kitchen first released their collagen, it was natural flavors in there. And when you called, it was something so, I forget what it was, like actual vanilla something. It wasn't sketch, but there are lots of companies who just use that name so that they don't have to say what it really is.
Yeah, basically. I mean, just kind of pick your poison, I guess. Like when I honestly don't buy a lot of products. I
Yeah,
just don't,
me either.
I really try to avoid products, but I understand that for some people, it just fits their lifestyle better to buy products. But there are good products out there that don't have any of those things, that don't have natural flavors, that don't have gums. Like if you're looking for crackers and stuff, like Simple Mills, they are great with their ingredients. Primal Kitchen has good ingredients. They have some gums in a couple of their dressings, but I've never really seen a lot of people have issues with them. I think they use like acacia gum or something like that. But there are brands out there that don't use that stuff. So don't like just do it. Just buy the brands that don't have it. But I mean, it's okay to have those things every once in a while, the gums and the natural flavors, as long as you make the conscious choice that this may not be the best thing, but hey, you're going to do it anyways.
Yeah, and it's just about what you're, like I said, if it's something I want to use every single day, I'm going to be way more picky. But if it's something like, every once in a while, And I think just another thing is make sure checking for oils on things. Like so many sketchy oils, that's like the biggest one. And if something is roasted, like if the ingredients are roasted nuts and they don't specify what it's roasted in, I can guarantee you it was roasted in something that's inflammatory because it's cheaper. So those are things to be. So you're looking for, canola oil, corn oil, grapeseed oil, margarine, peanut oil, safflower oil.
So there's a debate with safflower and sunflower oil.
Yeah, that is.
I see this in literally every health food product that's promoted on Instagram. They're like, oh, it's just sunflower oil. And I'm like, I don't know what to think about it,
Man, I've researched. What is your opinion? I've researched it a lot, and I don't know.
Well, I do know that safflower and sunflower oils, they're extremely fragile. So unless they're legitimately cold pressed and they're just in the bottle, like refrigerated in a dark bottle refrigerated, that's probably a good quality safflower oil or sunflower oil. But if it's already in a product and it's like chips, for example, like chips that are fried in safflower or sunflower oil, that oil is gone. It's rancid. It's been fried. It's not good for the body anymore. So I just don't like it. I just avoid it. But then there are things like Sir Kensington mayo that's made from, what is it, safflower oil? And I don't know how I feel about it because I just don't know the quality of their oil.
That's the thing. I mean, I will much rather eat it. I would definitely never have it if it was something that's been cooked. Like I would rather have it in a dressing, but even then, I would never buy a dressing with it in it or the mayo because why would I when I could get the same thing without it?
Exactly. Why would you?
I mean, that's why I don't use Tessemae's dressings.
I've used it and I haven't really noticed, like, I'm pretty sensitive. And I can notice when I start to get inflammatory responses like very quickly. And I've used Tessemae's and I have not responded poorly in like any way. But I also noticed that those types of oils, like the plant oils or the really high omega-6 oils, they actually make me more hungry. Like I physically get more hungry when I eat oils that are high in omega-6, like safflower, sunflower, nut oils, some nut and seed oils, canola oil. I literally become ravenous. Like I get really hungry. So if you have an appetite issue and you're dealing with cravings, those are also not good oils to eat.
Absolutely. And that's also the same thing with like natural flavors. A lot of times they put things in there that have addictive properties to make
True. Like yeast extract can also be another word for MSG. A lot of people think that yeast extract is just, I don't know what you would think it is, yeast extract, which sounds weird. Honestly, that's sketchy to like begin with. What even is that? But it's usually another word for MSG, monosodium glutamate, which is basically an excitotoxin to the brain. And it acts like drugs and it lights your brain on fire and keeps you addicted and wanting more of that food. Like, for example, Pacific bone, like nothing against Pacific, kind of something against Pacific. I don't know how I feel about it. But Pacific broths, they put yeast extract in their broths. And I could call and I could ask what it's derived from and what it really is. But I just would prefer to not get it when I know that there are other great bone broths out there on the market that don't have that.
Yeah, agreed. I just wish companies didn't put all this stuff in there. So you just got to pick and choose your battles. But at the end of the day, this is why I promote a mainly whole foods diet, because then you don't have to deal with all of the products.
I know. And it sucks that Instagram makes you almost feel like you need to be ordering these products because that's all you see on Instagram is product promotion. So I feel like, I mean, I don't feel this way, but I feel like a lot of people could feel like they need the products or it's almost like peer pressure and they should be eating all this stuff like the granola and the bars.
Let me tell you, these people who are posting all of these things, maybe they have pretty food pictures, but you don't know what their health is actually like. I'm just going to say right now, I'll tell you right now. You don't know what their health is actually like. And yeah, I'm not even going to go into it.
We've gone into that before, but what are like your top 5 brands that you actually like and buy?
Is there like a category?
No, it doesn't matter. Just anything you're into, like your top 5 brands that you like.
I mean, obviously, Primal Kitchen. Primal Kitchen everything. Their mayo is so good. I love for mustard. I love Eden Foods brand and the Whole Foods 365 mustard. I really like, what else do I like? Casentrunas olive oil and Coconut Secret. Their coconut aminos in their coconut vinegar. What other brands do I like? Vital Proteins for collagen. And I'm sketched out about all these weird collagen companies popping up. I'm just going to tell you now. I'm not about it. So, and what about nut butters? I love Artisana.
Yes, Artisana is the best.
The raw nut butters. Those are that's what I can see from my place. What about you?
Seriously, I don't buy a lot of products. Like I really don't. Gold Nugget Ghee used to sponsor my old podcast and I've talked about them before, but Gold Nugget Ghee is a California based company and their ghee is freaking amazing and I've never reacted to it. Some ghees I do react to and I love it. And they make a chocolate honey ghee and all of their ingredients are sourced either locally or they like know the farmers and they know where it's coming from, like wild cacao and local honey. I love it. I love them.
Wait, I want to say something about that because I was making my butterbeer cookies on my blog yesterday and I used half a jar. I had like a little bit left of another ghee brand, Ancient Organics from Whole Foods. And then I ran out. So then I went into my Gold Nugget Ghee and the difference in color, I cannot even tell you.
It's ridiculous.
Gold Nugget Ghee is so gold. Like it is like pure gold. And it made the Ancient Organics ghee just look so gross, like pale yellow. I was like, wow.
Well, they're from actually like year-long pasture-raised cows, and that's freaking awesome. And I mean, it's worth the price. Like it seriously is worth the price. I love it. Hashtag non-sponsored, but I love them.
Sponsor us.
Hashtag sponsor us. I love you. That's honestly, I just buy fats like the ghee, the Primal Kitchen. I love Primal Kitchen's extra virgin avocado oil because it's dark green and actually tastes like avocado oil. I know it's good. I still buy Chosen Foods avocado oil, but I have to be honest, I don't know how I feel about it just because I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it. I need to look more into that, but that's it. And I like Simple Meals too when I need a treat or a cracker or whatever. And I still buy Epic, even though Epic was bought out by General Mills. I still like some of their stuff. So I'll buy like their pork rinds or a bar when I'm like starving. But that's kind of it. I just want to eat vegetables.
Yeah, I don't.
Most of the time.
Because we don't eat, like, I mean, I just buy fats.
Yeah.
I really buy mayo.
All I buy is mayo.
Okay, cool. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. This one is from Katie. What advice do you have for dealing with a hormone problem with strictly food or supplements and no medication? Specifically, hypothyroidism in my case. I recently found out I have hypothyroidism, and my doctor told me the only way to deal with this is taking meds, which I refuse to believe. I try to avoid medication most of the time, my exception being birth control. Do you have any advice for this, or who would you direct someone to when dealing with an issue like this? She hasn't had any health problems until last year. She says, I don't categorize myself as paleo, but I don't eat gluten or dairy. I do have things like brown rice every once in a while, and my body is fine with it. I also have cut out coffee and caffeine for the most part. I do enjoy green tea, though. I exercise 3 times a week, weight and HIIT training, and try to make it to yoga at least once or twice a week. I've experienced moderate to severe migraines, short-term memory loss, mild joint pain, anxiety, and weight gain this past year, which my doctor and myself are attributing to my hypothyroidism. I don't know what to do, and the side effects of medicine freak me out so much I will lose sleep over it. Not kidding. It's been keeping me up all week. Help.
Sounds like you've been down the research rabbit hole too, Katie. Yeah. I have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, I'll let you go for it.
Like I have like a page of notes. I have way too much to say about this. First of all, Katie, hi, I know you. So, hey, and first things first, I know you say you don't want to be taking medication, but you are taking you're taking birth control. And I just want to say right now that birth control, I hate to say this, but it's probably contributing to your low thyroid. A lot, you know, I was on birth control for like 5 years, and I think it was something that really contributed to the spiral downfall of my health. It really, it does not do good things to your gut, and your gut health is really fundamental to your thyroid health as well. It like doesn't degrade the lining, but it compromises the integrity like of the webbing of your gut. It also depletes you in a lot of different vitamins and minerals that are really essential, like B vitamins, zinc. Zinc is crucial for your thyroid. So if you've been taking birth control for a long time, and I know you don't want to get pregnant, I don't know like how your hormonal cycles are, but I'm just going to urge you to look into that a little bit more and maybe coming off of that, because when I came off of that, it really helped me. I didn't have thyroid issues yet when I came off of birth control, but I had a lot of gut issues. And that was one of the major things that helped heal my gut, was coming off birth control. But being on birth control and all of its side effects that it has can contribute to low thyroid function. So that's already one thing. I would just look at that and looking at balancing your hormones a little bit more without the birth control. I also want to know, I'd be more interested in seeing like how you're diagnosed with low thyroid, like your numbers, because you can be diagnosed with low thyroid in a lot of ways. This is something that I'm also dealing with. Typically, like your TSH would probably be high. It looks like you went to a conventional medical doctor. I'm guessing that you're not going to a functional doctor or anything like that just by your message, but it looks like you're going to a conventional doctor. And usually they diagnose that by TSH being high, like that's one of the factors. And if your TSH is high, that's a brain issue, not necessarily a thyroid issue. It's probably a little bit of both, but that's a pituitary gland issue. Your hypothalamus and your pituitary talk to each other, and then they tell your thyroid gland how much hormone to produce. If your TSH is high, that means your pituitary gland is telling, which is in your brain, by the way, your pituitary is in the brain, is telling your thyroid, which is in the neck, hey, we need to produce a lot of hormone. There's something going on. Like we don't have enough. Produce. So that's a brain issue. And usually that in itself is stemming from an adrenal issue. So looking at the stress in your life, I know you say you don't drink caffeine. That's a really good step. Or coffee. Coffee is just in general a good step to eliminate. And then just in general, looking at the stress in your life. If your TSH is high, that probably means that you were running on high cortisol, high stress life for a really long time. And you said, you're like, I don't have any health issues. Everything was fine until I just like combusted into low thyroid. That's also like an adrenal issue, because that's what happens. We run in these high stress, high stakes environment, and we feel great or we feel fine because we have so much cortisol and it's like pumping through our veins and we feel fine. But then we start to develop HPA axis dysfunction, and all of a sudden things come crashing down and we don't understand why. So look at the stress in your life. You may not actually feel stressed, but just look at how much you're doing also. Like you may be just so used to feeling stressed that you don't feel stressed anymore. So I would look at that.
Also internal stress.
Yeah.
So that is also stress, even if you feel like you don't have external stress. It's clear that there is internal stress if you're having all these symptoms.
Totally. Internal stress. The other thing I was going to say was like your gut health. I think I've talked to you before about this, Katie. I hope it's you, that you were saying that you were having some digestive issues. And so digestive issues usually come before thyroid issues. That's just how it is, because a lot of the conversion of thyroid hormone is made in your gut as well. I don't remember the percentage, like 20, 30% of converting your T3 or T4 to T3 is in your gut. So if you do not have the right bacteria or enzymes or neurotransmitters, like all of that, you're probably going to have a little bit lower conversion. So you're going to get those symptoms. So work on gut health. And I mean, we can give some actionable steps, but I just wanted to give a quick overview. And then liver as well. Liver health is also really important to low thyroid and the conversion of T4 to T3. If your doctor hasn't told you, T4 is the inactive form of thyroid hormone, and it's converted into T3 in multiple places throughout the body, but it's mainly converted in the liver and the gut. So if you have and also birth control plays into this, because birth control has to be processed by your liver, and it takes up a lot of room in the liver. Your body puts a lot of effort into processing all the estrogens from birth control. So your liver could be taxed from that, and it's not having the time to convert your thyroid hormone. So that's another reason that I would look at your birth control use, and I would look at cleaning up your diet a little bit more, focusing on a lot of plants, really well-sourced meat, and also just the toxins in your life, the beauty products you're using, the cleaning products. I know this is a lot of information, but unfortunately, thyroid stuff is kind of complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, you know? Yeah. Okay, I need a break. There's so much. I have like a whole page of stuff here.
Okay, well, so I definitely agree with Kara. I think it's important to get those numbers checked by somebody who's not a general practitioner. Like the reference ranges that they use are very off and unhelpful. A lot of times they don't even test for what you should be looking for. So I think that maybe looking up your own reference range or finding a functional practitioner to double check that that's the issue. And I agree. I mean, I think depending on how serious you are and how ready you are to just really kick this in the butt, I would tighten up the diet more personally. Mm-hmm. I would be really focusing on healing my gut first and foremost, with really everything. But especially here, you don't want to increase intestinal permeability, because like Kara mentioned, that can really hamper the conversion of T4 to T3. So even though you say that you feel good with rice, you might not be able to feel that. If I were you, I would remove the grains as well. I'm just going to say that. I also would, I don't know if you eat sugar, I would cut the sugar for sure. I would just kind of take out the things that could be causing gut inflammation to really focus on that. And I also want to put out there are a lot of people who are super thyroid focused in this space. And I think that some really great resources are to look into people's work, such as Elle Russ, Amy Meyer, Isabella Wentz. Those are some people to look up. They talk about thyroid all the time. I think that, there are a ton of different things to sort of supplement. If we want to talk more about food, well, okay. I think a lot of times people who have hypothyroidism are deficient in selenium.
A lot of minerals. Yeah,
a lot of different minerals. Like, I have a list of like 50. But first of all, selenium, I would do some Brazil nuts if I were you.
Yeah.
Eat two a day. Magnesium. Take a magnesium supplement. I think most people should be, but there's magnesium in, leafy greens, nut seeds, your dark chocolate, things like that. I also think sometimes zinc, I would make sure you're not deficient in zinc.
Zinc is actually like really underrated for thyroid health. Zinc plays a huge part in your thyroid health and also your gut health. And since you are taking birth control, no lie, like you are going to have compromised gut from that. And it decreases your stomach acid. And if you have decreased stomach acid, you're going to have decreased levels of zinc. That's just how it is. So you're probably already zinc deficient a little bit. And that could be contributing to it.
Yeah, agreed. So zinc food sources are things like oysters, is the best, but also your meats like beef, bison, lamb, pork, or a zinc supplement if you get a good one.
I think pumpkin seeds are a good form of zinc. Is that?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Some other. So do you want to talk about iodine?
I don't know how I feel about iodine supplementation, to be honest.
It's very controversial. I personally think, a deficiency, I really trust in, I really, really love Elle Russ, her work on this. And she, talks about how a deficiency in iodine can lead to hypothyroidism. And I don't think it could really hurt to include things like sea veggies.
No.
I wouldn't go overboard, but I think that it could help to include things like sea vegetables.
Yeah, I think the whole food sources of iodine are great because your thyroid does need iodine. It really does run off of iodine, a lot of its functions, including the sea vegetables, could be really great and really important. But it's more of the high dose supplementation of iodine that gets controversy.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't, but I think that it could be good to include some more sea vegetables for like whole food sources. And baseline things like vitamin D, B12, like making sure that your levels, it sounds like you might have those levels tested. So I would just make sure those are in range according to not the reference range that your GP is going off of.
Right.
So I think also looking at iron levels, especially with the pill.
There's a lot of levels.
Yeah. Ferritin is your iron storage basically. So your T4 has a hard time converting to T3 when your ferritin is too low. So that's something to keep in mind. You get iron from, your leafy greens, meats, your organ meats. You can cook in a cast iron skillet. Yeah. So that's sort of, with the gut stuff, probiotics, the basic, making lifestyle, making sure you're getting enough sleep, not too intense exercise, all of those things. Yeah. And I definitely think it's super important that you don't have gluten or dairy. So it's good that you're still doing that. Also, me being me, let's talk about essential oils. If you want to try essential oils.
Yeah, please do actually.
Yeah, so there are a lot of essential oils that can really help with an underactive thyroid, which is and an overactive thyroid. So you would want to use oils with stimulating properties if you have an underactive thyroid, and the opposite for overactive, which is, I think, is pretty intuitive. But some great oils that work well with hypothyroidism are things like spearmint, lemongrass, peppermint, clove, frankincense, myrrh. Frankincense is really great for hypothalamic support for everybody. So I think that you could apply something like lemongrass and frankincense to the base of your neck, like thyroid area, a few times a day. I think that could be some great natural supplementation, I guess.
I'm taking notes right now.
I can tell you. I can send to you. But yeah, and also the bottom of your feet. So there are different places in the bottoms of our foot that correspond to different areas of our bodies. So the place at the bottom of the foot that corresponds to your thyroid is kind of that fleshy area right beneath the big toe. So you can also apply those oils to that area as well, and that corresponds to the thyroid.
That's cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Now I need more essential oils.
Into it. If you guys need help with essential oils, just let me know. They have changed my life. I'm obsessed with them, and I am a big doTERRA. I am a wellness advocate for them, so I do sell them. But you should see I have 3 different shelves filled with oils. It's crazy. They are game changers. So yeah, those are my
awesome. Those are really good recommendations. I know we've thrown a lot at you. But this really could be a lot of different things going on. I think some of the most important points are go to a functional doc and get a full thyroid panel done, meaning TSH, total T3, free T3, reverse T3, T4, and all of that, and antibodies, TPO, antibodies, and the other, it all is slipping my mind, A something. Do you know the other one?
Oh, God.
There's 2 antibodies, basically. You need to get them tested because some of this, so a lot of hypothyroidism, at least 70%, is Hashimoto's, is autoimmune in nature. And a lot of the symptoms that you are describing here are starting to look like autoimmune issues to me, especially with the joint pain, the short-term memory loss, the anxiety, and if you are having an autoimmune issue, I would really take this seriously and really clean up your diet. Like what Christina was saying, try a paleo diet with tons of real foods, tons of vegetables, tons of good fats. Like we were talking about earlier, omega-3s are really, really important for people with thyroid issues and autoimmune issues alike. So really good, high quality fats, high quality protein, and just tons of plant food, tons of vegetables. That should help. And then doing some basic supplementation in the meantime with minerals. Those are super important. The minerals, zinc, maybe some sea vegetables for iodine, selenium, all of that as well.
Also, make sure that you cook your goitrogenic foods.
You want to explain what a goitrogen is?
A goitrogen, so think cruciferous vegetables. So I'm talking about Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli. There is some controversy about if goitrogenic foods affect the thyroid. Basically, there was this study, and it wasn't on animals, and they just ate a ton of that, affected the thyroid. Basically, I think that unless you're eating, just keep it to a normal amount, is my opinion.
I've seen some research saying that unless you're eating like 10 plus cups of cruciferous, unless you're eating 10 plus cups of cruciferous vegetables a day, like it's not really gonna affect the thyroid. And I really think that the benefits of cruciferous vegetables outweigh the cons of goitrogens, because cruciferous really help with the detoxification in the liver. So they're more beneficial, but if you want to lessen the goitrogen effect, cook them. So
Yeah, because the argument is that the goitrogens can interfere with the iodine uptake by your thyroid, and that can affect things. So that's sort of the deal with those. But I wouldn't be too paranoid about that.
No. And also,
You should cook all of them. I think everybody should be cooking their cruciferous vegetables personally for digestive purposes.
I was going to say, I don't know how you digest those raw, like cruciferous vegetables. I can't.
For all my gut issues, I have the stomach of steel. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I don't know. Also, what do you think about carbohydrates?
I actually think, like, dude, it's so individual, but for me personally, I know, and I know for a lot of other women with thyroid issues, I would not limit your carbohydrates. I wouldn't be like super duper high freaking carb or anything like that, but I would not say eliminate your starches altogether unless you're having extreme digestive issues, extreme bloat, like with your carbohydrates. But I actually find that introducing carbohydrates at least once a day, like a starch or a fruit, 1 to 2 times a day, has actually really helped me with my thyroid and helped me with my energy. So I don't think it's necessary to go like keto or low carb for thyroid health. You can keep your starches in.
I think it's really good too. I think that with thyroid issues, a moderate carb consumption can be really great. Personally. So, I mean, I guess I don't know what people consider low to moderate. I think that you should definitely be staying beneath 150 grams of carbs a day, which if you're eating a paleo diet is really easy.
Yeah.
So
it is easy. I just say like a starch or fruit, like 1 to 2 times a day. And like you can test that out and see what works best for you. Did you have any other more like food supplemental type of advice?
Not really. I mean, I think it kind of threw a lot out there. Oh, I mean, vitamin C can be another good thing. Sometimes people are deficient in vitamin C. The thyroid is affected by so many different things. So, I mean, my top ones, I think I covered vitamin D, omega-3s, selenium, B12, DHEA, vitamin C, magnesium, sea salt. There's some other, maybe tyrosine you could look into, but we're getting so nitpicky.
We're getting nitpicky.
Yeah. The first thing to do, I think, is to check your, get everything tested that Kara mentioned. I was going to say that Mara mentioned. Everything that Kara mentioned, and use the proper reference range. Like, don't go off of what your GP says and go from there, because it could be that you have an autoimmune thing going on, which is important to know. Maybe you don't. Maybe it is hypothyroidism. Also, I mean, sometimes people's bodies, their numbers show that they have hypothyroidism and they don't. That happened to me. I was misdiagnosed with hypothyroidism and put on thyroid medication, and I didn't actually have hypothyroidism. My numbers just looked like that according to that doctor.
Yeah.
That really messed me up. So I don't really think, I think something's definitely going on. So I think that's the first place to start and go from there.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to go on a brief tangent about something not related to food, not related to supplements. So there is also a mindset around thyroid issues. The thyroid is really the energy center it's in the throat. And what happens in the throat is talking and speaking and communication and connection. And the thyroid chakra, that energy center, is really, really symbolic of vocalizing your truth. And it's like your life force as well. Your thyroid creates hormones that power the rest of your body. It is your life force. So if you're having hypothyroidism, to me, if I was working with you, I would really be asking you, like, what in your life are you not speaking up about? What in your life are you holding back? Are you like doubting yourself? Are you like, does something not feel right in your life and you're not talking about it? As well, it's also like, have you given up as well on life? Because the thyroid, once again, is your life force. And is there something that you've just like really given up on and you feel like there's no hope anymore? Those are a lot of things mindset wise that connect to the thyroid. And I think it's really important to look at because, believe it or not, like food, supplementation, they can get you so far. But if you have an energy blockage, if you have been holding something in, if you are not portraying who you really are and who you feel you are inside, if you are dealing with something and you are not talking about it, that energy seriously could get lodged in the body, and it does affect certain glands in the body. So looking at those certain areas of your life and really examining them and wondering what you can do about them can release a lot of energy. Some things that I've done, I noticed I do have some thyroid issues, and I realized that I was not speaking up enough. That was mainly my big thing, is I wasn't speaking up enough, or I wasn't speaking up when I thought the time was right, or there were certain areas in my life where I like completely lost hope and that I gave up on. So I had to build that back into myself. And I'm not even kidding you, like that alone, I feel so much better just by doing that little piece alone. So some things you can do is journaling. If you're not ready to speak up about something yet, journal, write it all down. That way you're actually getting those thoughts out of your head. They're not just being stuck in your body, all that energy. Put it on some paper, write every single day. More laughter in your life. Find some friends that make you laugh, hang out with people that make you feel good, that you can talk to. Seriously, laughter is a huge release as well, and it invites a lot of positive energy into your life. And just overall, talk more. I'm also an only child, so I don't talk a lot. Like, I don't know. I have times where I can be very silent, and I just don't feel it's necessary to talk. I could probably go days without talking if I really wanted to. And once again, that's just holding in energy. So find ways to talk more. That's why I love podcasting, because I get to talk more. So find ways to talk, find ways to laugh, and find ways to really express yourself. And those are energetically some ways that you can really support your thyroid as well. So just keep that in mind.
Wow, I love that. I think that is so applicable to so many people. I think that is extremely, extremely useful. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope it helps. But
yeah, I think so. We had another question, but we don't have time.
No.
So we'll save that for next time. If you guys have questions that you want us to answer about anything, you can send them in to straightuppaleo@gmail.com, or you can submit them on our website, straightuppaleo.com. We also would love it if you joined our Facebook group, Straight Up Paleo Pals. You might meet some pals yourself there.
There's been a lot of chatter on there lately, so it's been fun.
There's a lot of chatter and a lot of fun people, a great way to meet like-minded people. So join the Facebook group. It'll be great, and you can talk about episodes, because I think that we've had some interesting guests. Maybe you want to put in your 2 cents. Yeah. Connect with us on there. All of the things. So we would love to see you there.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm glad we got to chat again. It's been a while since we've had a Q&A type episode. So please send in your questions. Join our Facebook group. Tell your mom, tell your friends all about our podcast, and get them to subscribe, because we love doing this. So thanks everyone for listening in, and I hope you got a little something out of that, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.